Hey, what's going on guys? I'm Random and welcome back to another Midnight Ghost Hunt video. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 ghost abilities in the game, so let's get into it. Just making the list at the number 5 spot, we have Death Grip. Death Grip is incredibly useful in both escape and trapping scenarios. While escaping from a hunter, dropping Death Grip in pretty much any doorway is going to guarantee that you escape. And on the trapping side, a well-placed Death Grip can pretty much guarantee that you get a kill by pairing it with Poltergeist or having your teammates just ready to launch themselves at the poor soul who gets Death Gripped. It does have just a few downsides though that drop it to the number 5 spot on this list, like it's really only good for one person. If you find yourself getting cornered by several people and you drop a Death Grip, you won't really do all that much. Likewise, if you drop a trap in a doorway and 3 hunters run through it, you're not really going to stop them from getting into the room. But with that being said, I think it has earned its spot at the number 5 spot for being a great utility tool for escaping or trapping. On to the number 4 spot, I think we have a fan favorite, Corruptor. Now, Corruptor falls to the number 4 spot. I previously probably would have put it at 3rd, but it has not been too good in my recent playing. Everybody knows that Corruptor paired with Poltergeist is a disgusting combo, but Corruptor by itself has a lot less utility than Poltergeist by itself. Corruptor does still earn its spot here though, because when you put it in a room and people are expecting anything that's corrupted to float and they just start to shoot stuff in the room, it can be devastating. They can actually very quickly end up offing themselves if it goes really poorly for them. Well-placed Corruptors can be incredibly annoying for hunters to deal with. And just because I think that it's taken a step back recently doesn't mean that it isn't still really good. At the number 3 spot, maybe a bit of a controversial pick, I have Spirit. Now, Spirit is probably the single best pure escape ability. Spirit not only gives you a speed boost and allows you to fly around, but is incredibly useful for escaping harpoons and incredibly useful for escaping traps. And traps are kind of the meta right now, which makes Spirit incredibly viable for all levels of play. Well, I think it's possible to argue that the better version of Spirit is just running Shatterproof and a small prop. I do think Spirit still holds its place here at the number 3 spot, above Corruptor and above Death Grip. Spirit is at its best when you're using it to break lines of sight, not necessarily just flying straight up into the air and hoping they can't see you, but using it around crowded areas between rooms or in buildings or on the ghost ship, for example. If you can use it to get that little speed boost and that little float and just kind of break all the lines of sight to every hunter, it can be incredibly strong. But enough about that. Moving on to the number 2 spot, we have Poltergeist, and Poltergeist is obviously probably the most used ghost ability in the game, and for very good reason. Poltergeist is so strong and it is so fun. Seeing Poltergeists next to a doorway or around a corner is pretty much guaranteed damage. Not only that, but they can be used to distract an entire group of hunters. If you set off Poltergeists in a room, the hunters will probably spend at least 30 seconds to a minute searching that room looking for you, and you could be in an entirely different room. The ability to poltergeist up to 5 items is wild. You can put 5 items at a doorway, and if every single item hits, you're going to kill somebody. Worth noting too is that, again, this does pair incredibly well with Corruptor, as you can poltergeist Corruptor an item and it will land and then explode and deal a massive amount of damage. The one thing that Poltergeist is kind of lacking is that it's not that great as an escape type of ability. But that's not really its intended purpose, and although there are stuff below this list that can be used as an escape or as an aggressive play, it doesn't quite edge out everything that Poltergeist has to offer. This is an incredible ability, and if you haven't used it yet, you definitely should. And finally, we have the number 1 spot. If you guys haven't already figured it out, it's going to be Miasma. Now, Miasma is probably a little busted right now. This ability is kind of broken. I'm sure you've played against it where they use a small item with Shatterproof and they fly at the generator, Miasma it, and then run away. It is really busted right now. It is super fun to use, but also a little oppressive, especially for players who are a bit lower level. I played with a full squad, all running Miasma, and in the 10 ghost games we played, we were able to destroy the generator in 8 of them. I think that is stupid. This thing is stupid strong. If you haven't used it, I would suggest you give it a try. And again, I remind you, please pair it with a small prop and shatterproof. Get really used to flying around the map with your charge ability and miasmaing the generator, or just miasmaing to escape, or miasmaing for damage. You can really do this in whatever you want. It does 7 damage a tick. If somebody stays in your miasma cloud for 2 ticks, that is 14 damage, which is almost as much damage as Poltergeist does. Miasma is pretty busted right now. But yeah, guys, that has been my list of the top 5 ghost abilities in the game. If you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video.